everyone, my name is Andrea and welcome to this edition of Talks in the Car. Yesterday I was having a conversation with a friend of mine and she asked me a question about being a part of a particular activity and would I be interested in becoming a part of this venture that she has going on. And my response to her was that I didn't think that I would be good at that particular endeavor that she's going into. And her response to me was, Andrea, why do you always put a negative light upon yourself? And she pointed out that my response could be a result of trauma. And so as I began to think about that a little bit more, I really didn't think, and I really don't think that my response was about trauma, but more about I really don't think that I would be good at what she was saying. But in that, I had to really start to think about the various responses that I give to different questions and to really analyze whether or not the different things that I have experienced in life, do I have triggers, and have I really gotten over some of the past traumas that I've gone through in my life. And that is something that we have to be very, very honest with. We all have gone through trauma of some point, whether or not it was abuse as a child, whether or not we experience bullying in school, whether or not we experience illness or the death of a loved one, whether or not we have gone through divorce, mental or physical abuse in marriage. All of us have gone through various types of trauma in our life. However, the key to that is how have we gone about recovering from the trauma? Have we healed? And we have to be honest about that, because what happens is when we do not heal properly, when we don't take time to address certain issues that we have been through, they begin to grow and they begin to fester and they stay rooted in us, and it becomes a weight, and it becomes something not only that we carry, but it also becomes a weight that we may put on others. And we have to be very, very honest with the things that we've gone through. And as hard as the trauma was, letting go of trauma, doing things that allow us to wash away those things that we've gone through, the residue of our past, while it's hard to go through it, the end result is beautiful. The end result frees us. The end result cleanses us, and it allows us to exist in a life that's more abundant. God does not want us to carry around weight. God does not want us to carry around trauma. He wants to heal you. Not long ago, we talked on the subject, God wants to heal you everywhere that you hurt. And that includes past trauma. That includes those things that trigger us and remind us of things in our past. And so as we are going through this journey, we need to really look at the things that we have gone through in our past, and we have to really be honest and make a decision or decide whether or not the things that we have gone through, we have let them go, or are we continuing to hold on to things of our past. Healing is not an easy process. Healing takes time. Healing can hurt, but healing is necessary in order to move forward. We do not want to live our lives where we are stagnant. We don't want to live our lives where the things in our past are holding us back and not allowing us to move forward. We don't want to live our lives in a way where our past issues, our past pain, our past traumas are affecting our current relationships, our current situation. And so I encourage you to really look at where you are versus where you came from, and to really be honest with yourself and answer the question, have I healed from past trauma? And if you can say yes to that, and you can say yes to that honestly, that is awesome. But if you can't, and if you are still holding on to things, if there are things that happen that trigger you, that remind you of past traumas, I encourage you to do what you need to do the work in order to get past those. And that might mean going to counseling, that might mean going to therapy, that might mean speaking with a trusted pastor or minister. That means crying, that means laying out, that means doing all of those hard things that will get you to a place of healing. In the African American culture, sharing our hurts, sharing our pains, going to therapy is not something that's popular. Just now, it's become something where people are being encouraged to go to therapists. People are being encouraged to talk to therapists about their problems. But in the past, and especially if you came up, around the same time that I did, you were discouraged from talking about things. I know in my family, my parents would always say, we don't share family business. And not that I had anything that was traumatic to share, but my parents were very private people. And so things that happen in the family, or things that happen in their family, or just in general, they wanted to keep those things private. They wanted to keep those things personal. And so we were encouraged, my sister and I, not to share family business. And with that being said, there are a lot of families, not just African American families, but a lot of families who don't share past traumas, who are holding on to things that happen in their family, that happen in school, that happen in different arenas, because the expectation is that you don't share. The expectation is that you need to hold on to it. The expectation is that it could have a negative effect on how people look at you and how people perceive you. Even in men in particular, they are not given permission to share. They are not given the freedom and the liberty to share different things that have gone on in their lives. So we have a lot of men who are walking around hurt, who are walking around dealing with past traumas, because they have not been able to let go of things that have hurt them. They are not able to let go of past experiences that have pretty much changed their lives, things that have affected how they perceive things, how they go about things. And we have to be careful with that. There's a lot of people holding on to loads. There are a lot of people holding on to situations that they could be free from, but because they don't know how to, because they are afraid to, they are walking around bound. They are walking around hurt. Let's be different. Let's change. Let's change that narrative and walk in freedom. Find our way to freedom. So if you are someone who has dealt with trauma, if you are someone who is still dealing with trauma, if you are someone who is ready to let go of things from your past, do the work. Put in the work in order to make that happen. God created a beautiful world for us, and He wants us to enjoy that world. But we can't do that if we are walking in bondage. We can't do that if we have weight that is pressing on our hearts, pressing on our spirits. We can't live an abundant life if we are weighted down, if we can't move forward in a smooth way. We will always have problems. We will always deal with different situations. But we have to come to a place where we know how to let go. And not only know how to, but give ourselves permission to let go. Give ourselves permission to be set free. Give ourselves permission to forgive ourselves of situations that have taken place. Like I said, Christ wants us to live life abundantly. And in order to do that, we have to experience freedom. We have to let go of yesterday's tears, yesterday's hurt, and to be able to walk into our tomorrows, walk into our next years free and free of burdens, free of stress, free of those things that keep us down. So I encourage you once again that if you have had trauma in your life, like I said, which we all have had, take some time to think about that and to look at that and to analyze and to be honest with yourself, to say that the trauma that you have, whether it was great or whether it was smaller, does affect your current everyday. And it is hindering you from moving forward in your life. It's hindering you from experiencing freedom. It's hindering you from being all that you can in God. And if that is the case, then work towards freeing yourself. Go see that therapist. Go talk to that counselor. Go and talk to someone who you trust and who you know is full of wisdom and will give you good advice and give you good tools in order to move forward. And then at the end of the day, put your trust in God. God wants us to leave our burdens with Him. There's a song that I remember growing up that used to say, take it all to the Lord and leave it there. And God wants us to do that. God wants us to take our burdens. God wants us to take our situations and to leave them at His feet, to leave them at the altar. And God not only is able to heal us, God is not only able to cleanse us, but He wants to. He wants to see us free. He wants to see us walking in liberty. He wants to see us experience a refreshing in Him. And so take the time to pray and to take your burdens, to take your situations, to take your hurts, to take your traumas, and to leave them in the hands of God, because He wants to heal us. Like the song says, God wants to heal you everywhere you hurt, mind, body, and spirit. And so I encourage you, I'm actually preaching to myself. There is work that we all have to do. And I encourage you to do that. I encourage you to make sure that you are free from trauma and allow yourself to experience what freedom looks like. Allow yourself to enjoy life more abundantly. God wants that for you, and you should want that for you. You enjoy the rest of your day, and we will see you next time on Talks in the Car.